we'll really get into this big Clemson game, the first real test for them. They go and on the road play Wake Forest, the number 21 ranked team at the time, and they were able to pull out a win in overtime against a pretty solid team. Definitely the biggest test for Clemson so far, and uh, for Clemson, they're a team that people have a lot of questions about this year. Still, they kind of had a high rank, really more so due to Dabble's track record, and Clemson usually just always finding a way to get things done. Last year was a down year for them, but they're able to pull off the win and avoid an early upset in a ACC conference that is actually looking stronger than maybe some other down years this year.
Yeah, I think DJ kind of established himself a little bit more in that game too. You could see just I mean, to go to OT in that situation and then pull out a win, it does take some type of guts. It does take some type of it factor. So I think with that, he was able to kind of get things going. Seemed like the offense got things going. There's still some questions on defense, which is kind of odd because the defense is what seemed to be holding up, and the offense was kind of questionable as the year went on. But again, I mean, Wake Forest, they put up a great fight, and I think that was just like you said, it was one of the first tests really for Clemson. Also, it's in a sense it kind of worked out in DJ's favor because there's kind of those questions in the beginning of the season: is he the guy? Is he not the guy? Are they going to pull up Cade Klubnik instead? I feel like this would have been the game to if he did kind of show some struggling, they would have just put Cade in and just try to see what went on. But I think he did well. He obviously had a great game, and they pulled out with the win.
Yeah, and like you said, Clemson is kind of figured to be leaning on their defense this year. That's what they've kind of been doing, and the offense kind of shaky. But against Wake Forest, they were able to find a way to come out with a win. DJ, like you said, answer some questions, able to hold off Cade Klubnik. Seems like there has definitely been some growth there. I don't know if everyone is completely satisfied with him living up to his hype, especially when he was kind of in the conversation with Bryce Young and CJ Stroud, and those guys are Heisman contenders, and DJ is, leading Clemson, but not quite at their level, or at least not showing that yet.
Right.
But definitely, like you said, showed some guts, and Clemson gets a chance to have another big game next week as they play NC State. We'll move on to some other games. We saw Michigan be able to squeak out a win against Maryland. They're a team kind of like Clemson, didn't have really great competition. Michigan actually had the worst strength of schedule in all of FBS, but they were able to hold on against Maryland. Baylor able to hold on against Iowa State, but a game that we'll dive into a bit more was a big SEC matchup. Florida, who was ranked number 20th at the time, went to Tennessee in a huge game for Tennessee. I mean, Tennessee hasn't beaten Florida in
In
forever.
years, yeah.
Yeah, the record is so much in favor of Florida, but Tennessee is a team that it's been kind of showing that they could make some moves this year. Their offense kind of came to life last year. They've continued to get the ball rolling, and they find a way to come up with a big win against Florida at home. Stormed the field, and happy days over there in
No.
Knoxville.
I think and Anthony Richardson, he kind of showed a little bit more spark this game. We haven't really seen it all season. There's been, I mean, we've seen it in the beginning of the for the season opener, but aside from that, he kind of struggled in passing. He kind of struggled, even getting passing touchdowns as it is. The
Right.
rushing was never a question because he's an incredible athlete. So I mean, just being an incredible athlete, obviously that comes with the territory of being obviously, what he is. So we just wanted to see. I mean, just in general, I think everybody wanted to see what he could do passing wise. He showed that a little bit in the Florida game, in the Florida Tennessee game. I think Tennessee was just too much for Florida to handle, and we've been talking about Florida as well. So like it's not like I mean we've been talking about Tennessee as well. It's not like Tennessee isn't on the rise. Like they've been doing well. They'll have more tests on like with Georgia, with Alabama, they'll have those kinds of tests in the future. But as far as Florida, I think it's a good measure because Florida, I mean, to go into Florida and win that kind of game is also just incredible to do, especially with the way that home crowd is. So,
Florida came to them.
oh, okay,
But
yeah.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
but still, I mean,
But
in
yes.
general, to take out Florida
Mhm.
is huge. There's still a powerhouse team regardless. Like you can never really count out Florida. So.
Yeah. They're definitely a program that you know, great tradition over there, and obviously they've kind of haven't been what they used to be, but still, Florida at any given year can beat anybody. And Tennessee, huge win for them. I mean, they're a team that's been in the dark ages for years now. So to be on the rise and be in the top 10 now after that win against Florida, huge for their program and a great step in the right direction for a team that is definitely looking to turn things around and seems like they're kind of putting things together. We knew they were going to be great offensively, but their defense is able to make some plays and help out and they get a good team win here at home. So just some other games. Minnesota able to kind of handle Michigan State. That was a bit surprising to me. Oklahoma falls to Kansas State. Kansas State actually has we talk about the record between Tennessee and Florida. Kansas State actually has a winning record against Oklahoma, which is a bit
Pretty
surprising.
surprising, yeah. Considering all the years that they've been like Oklahoma's been dominant for the past few years
Hmm.
in that division. So
Yeah, so big win for Kansas State and USC able to hold on against the Oregon State team that's kind of showing some promise this year. Arkansas though goes into Texas A&M, huge game for the SEC. Two teams looking to make some noise this year. Arkansas kind of they showed some struggle in some of these games, but they've also shown that they're not a team to sleep on. Texas A&M, very up and down year. You know, huge problems with their offense. It's kind of been talked about all over the place, and they're able to get a great win at home against an Arkansas team. And yeah, I mean that's big for them. They had that App State loss. They were able to bounce back against a Miami team that
that's
lost this week against Middle Tennessee. Huge upset, and definitely ruined a bunch of people's parlays. As a minus 2,500 favorite
yeah, that's
to
crazy.
lose. But like I said, A&M, they're able to hold off Arkansas. They get the win, and huge win for their program. There's a lot of noise about Jimbo, and even Texas A&M fans themselves maybe not thrilled with the direction the program is heading when you land all these top 5-star recruits, best recruiting class
And
ever.
you're still struggling in a sense.
Yeah, and then you're still struggling. Your offense has left lots to be desired, and yeah.
Yeah, and it was kind of like it was really more of for Arkansas, it was really more of just KJ Jefferson or just basically getting things going for their
Hmm.
offense, and it didn't seem like anybody else could get things going. Um, they strive in their run game. KJ ran great, but again, it's if you don't have other people aside from your quarterback, there's only so much your quarterback could do, and there's only so much you want your quarterback to do in those kinds of situations. Because if he does get injured, then it's like you're stuck with your backup. And granted, your backup's most likely going to be able to step in soon in the years. But again, you don't want to risk putting your star quarterback out there. So, I mean, like you said, it was a good win by Texas A&M, especially with Jimbo and everything, all the questions around the offense and all the questions around his kind of philosophy with his coaching. So, I think that was a pretty good win to get. So
Yeah, and this is a win kind of almost similar to Clemson, a grinded out win, took some guts to win like that. I think kind of the question with A&M is, it seems like this is the only way they do win with solid competition. And I think people would kind of want to see A&M kind of really take it to somebody in the coming weeks, and show that they could win more than just close games and games where they could hold people. I mean, that game was a very, very even game through and through.
right.
Similar yards wise, possession wise, and really just came down to the wire in a game that they win by 2 points. Uh, Arkansas, they pick up the L here, but they move on and they have a big matchup with Alabama next week. Alabama, who just throttled Vanderbilt to no surprise to anyone else, and they move on there. Utah, easy win against Arizona State, and two teams that we will talk about in stock up, stock down in Ohio State and Kansas get the wins over Wisconsin and Duke respectively.